This one here that we're gonna play
This
is like stupid new. Alright? Just stupid new. We're just gonna play it because what the hell, why not, right?
Right.
You guys wanna hear a stupid ass new song, right?
Yeah.
Cool. It's a little different, but it's fun.
of the mind with no hope. I follow. I drift along the ocean, dead lifeboat in the sun, and come undone, pleasantly caving in. I come undone, and I realize you're mine. Indeed, a fool am I. I realize you're mine. Indeed, a fool am I.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. For some reason, what the fuck is that? There we go. Now we might be. There we go. It shows that we are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like an Eddie Bravo. Today, like most days, we have got a slurry of things to talk about and a wonderful group of shenanigan partakers to get into it with. TJ is running a little bit late, but we'll be here later. But before we get into that, the interim new guy returns. He is staking his claim. You can see he's getting a discount double check, but how the fuck you doing, RJ?
Did you just say discount double check?
Did you not see? Fresh gave you the discount double check.
You're dead, man, Rogers.
See?
The fucking ranch. Fuck you. Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Pretty good week. There's some pretty good fights in this card. Been keeping an eye on. Make sure the Backstreet Boys doesn't fuck up a couple of the good fights for us.
Right. Yeah, it's not.
Already did that.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but we still got a couple of good ones here to talk about this afternoon.
Yeah, got a couple good cards. Got a couple good fights tonight.
Hell yeah. And then across the octagon, challenging for that interim new guy title, staking his claim here as the freshest guest on the show, Mr. Fresh 03. How the fuck are you doing, sir?
Doing good. There are indeed a few really interesting fights, and there's some stuff that's like,
Yeah, absolutely. We got a little bit of fluff, as per usual, I guess, is the case at this point, but we've definitely got some interesting ones to go over here. So, as has been told to me by folks much smarter than myself, before we get into the shenanigans, I should let you fine folks know that if you would like to partake in a little bit more of the lunacy that we partake in around here, you can find us on basically all social media platforms. Facebook at I'm No Joe, Instagram at I'm No Joe, YouTube here at I'm No Joe, and also, understandably, if these influencer level faces are just too much of a distraction for you, you can also catch us in all audio format the week after the show on anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. If you want to support the shenanigans, patreon.com/I'm No Joe. That being said, the man, the myth, the legend himself has arrived. Golf T has entered the building. How you doing, brother?
A hell of a lot better if I wasn't running behind, but hey, shit happens.
You're on a good show to be running behind. You're okay. So, this week was a bit of a fiasco all the way around. I was originally supposed to be out of town last night, which is why there was no Joe Liminaries, which is also why I didn't have any notes prepared as of last night when my trip got canceled at the literal last minute. So after the Cloudy Bunker over on the Golf T Vapes channel, which you should all go check out on Wednesday nights if you have a chance, I sat down and had to do a hardcore MMA crunch because we have not one but 2 cards this weekend, and all of the news for the last week I had neglected to take notes on because I was originally going to be out of town last night. So we have a good old-fashioned, old-school, full-course meal show for you folks this evening. We will try and run through the news and recent events segment fairly quickly. It's pretty much all fight announcements, so we can knock those out fairly quickly here. And luckily, both of the cards we have to talk about for this weekend aren't exactly the most thrilling, I think is the good word for it. So we should be able to knock those out pretty quick. So jumping right in to kick things off here. Excuse me. First thing I want to go over real quick, the UFC 252 medical suspension list from last weekend's fights. They're getting a little lazy, to say the least here. Both Kelly and Porter are out until September 15th. Neither one of them took a lot of damage. Makes perfect sense. Kamaka, oops, excuse me, I jumped one. Herbert Burns and Daniel Pineda both out until September 30th, which that's a little weird because Burns kind of got worked pretty hard on the ground for a hot minute there, and Pineda didn't really take a whole lot of damage in his fucking shot. But
They gotta wait for the juice test to come back.
Basically, yeah. But then it gets into the weird ones here. Everyone else on the card is suspended until September 30th or cleared by a doctor for an individual reason here. So Kamaka has a cut on his face, even though he went 3 rounds and looked great, has to get his cut cleared by a doctor before he can return or wait until the end of September. TJ Brown, who missed weight and still got his ass kicked, has to go get his orbital fracture cleared by a doctor or is out until September 30th. Jim Miller has to get the cut on the bridge of his nose cleared by a doctor or is out until September 30th, which is weird, especially if you've seen his social media. It's already gone. He's still got black eyes, but that's gone already. Whatever. JDS, who got worked pretty fucking good, again, out till the 30th, or the cut that he got on the little corner of his eye right there has to be cleared by a doctor. Strange. And then the one that really started the what the fuck trend, O'Malley, who literally got kicked in his fucking knee so hard it shut the nerves to his leg off and then got elbowed to fucking sleep by Cheeto, out until the 30th of September or until a doctor clears the ankle damage from him rolling his foot and eating shit onto the canvas. You would think that one
But
would be a little
it was
more.
bad enough he had to get carted out.
Yeah, they had to stretcher him out of the octagon. You would think a little bit more than a month would be sufficient. But then if you saw that asshole social media today, I get it. He's literally dancing around to try and make it look like he didn't get hurt when we all saw what fucking happened. It's cool. Play it off, Playboy. Play it off. Just enjoy your time back on the prelims fighting pizza guys again. Fuck boy. But then the extra ironic one, despite his I can't see, everything's black out of my left eye fucking crybaby bullshit, both Stipe and DC are suspended on medical terms, quote unquote, until September 30th, or both of them are cleared by an eye doctor for the eye pokes.
I mean, they both did absorb like 12 eye pokes apiece.
Exactly.
So,
And not to
I mean,
mention,
that's fair.
if you actually look at the eyes at the end of the fight, Stipe's eye looked way, way worse than DC's did. So, I mean, I get it. You got poked in the eye, but, you know, karma's a bitch sometimes.
Fuck, I don't envy either one of their eyes.
Fuck no. Fuck no.
Swear to God, that one that fucking Stipe hit DC with, it looked like his fingertip touched his brain.
Yeah,
and
all the
picked
way
it.
in there. Yeah, he was giving him a COVID test by hand.
Yeah, fucking gnarly.
community service. Community service. Leave the guy alone for trying to do the right thing.
Right? Shit.
He's just trying to use his EMT.
That's right.
All right.
Just making sure you're all right. Oh, but from there, we have a small avalanche, literally, of fight announcements that have come out mainly in the last 48 to 72 hours. But there was a couple of interesting ones over the weekend. Ironically enough, I managed to get them all in chronological order here. Some fucking how. As I was writing them down, it just worked out that way. The first one we have to look forward to is next weekend. Short notice announcement. They're not sure if it is going to headline or co-main event right now. But either way, I'm interested to see how it plays out. Alexander Rakic versus Anthony Smith. 3-round. Either way. They said that whether it's main or co-main, it's going to be a 3-round because that's what they agreed to prior to this fight being originally moved. So, weird to see another 3-round main event, if that's how it goes, but
Be interesting to see how Anthony Smith bounces back from
yeah.
his teeth getting knocked the fuck out of his face.
No shit. And not to mention, Rakic has been on a bit of a quiet run lately, so this will be an interesting test for him as well.
Yeah, it's a good looking fight.
So then after that, we got a pair of interesting announcements from over on the Bellator side of the house. Where's it is, I'll leave that discussion for another day. They are doing a card on September 11th, but it is part of a pair of cards. The reason they're doing that is because they're having a Friday and a Saturday card. They're having a dual event weekend to kind of help ingratiate the fans with the fact that there's a card on 9/11. They've kind of thrown out a couple of bigger names that they're going to release onto this weekend. Two of them being very, very much watched. On September 11th, we will see Gabby Holloway welcoming the debut of Kat Zingano, coming in at 145 pounds over on the Bellator side. I am excited both to see her come back, period, but also to see what she does at 145 over there, knowing who else is in the 145 division over there.
Interesting.
Right? So then the other one that they announced was for the Saturday card for September 12th. Deanna Bennett will be welcoming the debut of one Liz Carmouche, stepping into Bellator's cage at 125.
For the surprise of nobody.
Yeah. So the the former UFC ladies are making their debut on the September weekend cards over in Bellator. The other fight that they announced to go with the Liz Carmouche, as if that wasn't enough of an awesome fucking debut for that card, they are also matching up some more former UFC talent. Neiman Gracie is taking on John Fitch. That's going to be interesting. 170 pounds in Bellator is real interesting right now, and both of those gentlemen are part of the reason. So that's going to be a hell of a card for a Saturday night. So, September 19th, the following weekend, back over to the UFC side of the house, was originally going to be UFC 253. They have since announced UFC 253 is now moved to September 26th, but they are still going to have a fight night event on September 19th. So, in having to basically build a card on the fly for the 19th, one of the fights that was originally going to be on 253 but did not move with the card is staying to potentially main event the September 19th card is going to be one Johnny Walker stepping in against Ryan Spann, which compared to Corey Anderson, maybe not necessarily the same caliber, but very much a similar style. So I feel like they're kind of giving Johnny Walker a chance to be like, did you learn from that ass whooping? Because if not, you're about to catch another one in the same fashion, but if you did, this can help you get back on track.
I don't know if Johnny Walker's ever going to get back on track.
Yeah, I don't know if that train can be taken back to the station and reset or not, but I think this is about the best chance he's going to get, really.
And he's getting reset Westworld style.
Yeah, they're going to full wipe his ass. So, like I did mention here, UFC 253 did get moved from the 19th to the 26th, but in them moving it over to the 26th, they gave us a slew of announcements to what they're going to keep or build that card with here. The first one that they have announced is a very, very interesting matchup. Another kind of old guard versus new guard that always turns out weird but always exciting. Diego the Lunatic, Nightmare Sanchez versus Jake the Australian Thunder Matthews. It's going to be interesting to see if Matthews can kind of get back on track, especially against somebody as weird and unpredictable as Diego.
Yeah, that has potential to be a really, really nice fight.
Yeah, there's all kinds of potential for craziness in that matchup. So the next one that they announced going on 253 that I know Fresh is going to love as much as I did, debuting a young man named Shane Young against a local favorite amongst the show here, you could say, one Mr. Nate Landwehr.
My medical suspension is up, baby.
Exactly. He is cleared to go, and they got him a fight. We're right the fuck back in there, and I can't wait to see how he does.
Yeah, me either. That dude's entertaining as hell.
He's crazy as shit, and I'm on board for it. So, another interesting one they're stacking on that card. Alex De Silva being welcomed by a newcomer from a little place called City Kickboxing, one Brad Quake Riddell.
Oh, Quake.
Quake's getting back into the action, and I'm excited to see how he handles it as well, because if we've seen anything from anything down there, those boys generally stay ready.
Yeah. Quake. All right. Good. It'll be good to see Quake back again.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he's going to make this progression through here. And then, of course, you know why they put Quake on that card, because UFC 253 is going to be headlined by the juice man himself, Paulo Costa, stepping in to try and take on the last stylebender, Israel Adesanya, for that middleweight belt.
Good to see Izzy back, too.
Yeah, and I think I was actually talking about this fight with somebody earlier.
He owes us one.
Yeah, I was talking about this with a friend of mine literally right before the show on Instagram. This is going to be, I feel, a very different fight than what we saw last time. To his credit, Izzy fought smart. He was ready for whatever Yoel was going to throw at him, and Yoel just decided not to throw anything at him. So, I get it. It wasn't exciting, but I get it. On the other hand, it takes two to tango, and Yoel just didn't engage. I don't think we're going to have that issue with Paulo Costa. These guys have had beef long before Izzy was even in title picture. So I think these boys are going to go the fuck after it. And when they engage, they're going to engage. I think it'll get crazy.
Excited.
So
I'm excited. Like I said, Izzy owes us one.
Yeah,
he owes us
absolutely. That was kind of the middleweight Lewis and Ngannou, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I think, possible best piece of news that, at least for me anyways, that they have added to the UFC 253 card is with the official announcement this week and confirmation from the UFC that John Jones has officially relinquished the light heavyweight title and is in current contract negotiation for a heavyweight debut. They took him at his word. They took the title from him, and headlining UFC 253 now will be Dominic Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz for the now vacant light heavyweight title.
Finally.
It's about fucking time.
It is, but at the same time, I find it a little non-gratifying that neither one of them gets the chance to put him away.
I agree, but I think at this point, he really, really wants to go to heavyweight because he thinks that he can, try and piss all over DC's legacy some more. And I think his only real negotiating chip was that 205 belt. And they're like, look, you've been tying that fucking division up for a hot minute and arguably lost your last two. You got to give us a little something if you want us to give you a little something. And he's like, how about the belt? Because realistically, what other reigning 6-time defending champion lets go of one belt to go after another in 2020? It's champ season. That's all the latest trend. You got to figure it had to have been a negotiation point.
Yeah.
Either that or it's just a really bold fucking move. One of the two.
Right. But either way, it's back in the mix.
It's been all over social media. But could he have actually taken Reyes at this point?
I don't think so.
I really don't think he could have.
I'm in the school that he didn't take him the first time. I'm a firm believer that Reyes won that fight, and part of the reason he might have decided that now's the time to make the move is because even Dana has been agreeing Reyes is the next fight to make at light heavyweight. All of a sudden, time to move.
My question is, what happens when he faces a real power puncher who only needs to touch him? You've got the Derek Lewis, the Francis Ngannou, the Rosenstrike, all of those guys. I'll even say it, Alistair Overeem. The Reem would do it
It's
too.
open season on John Jones.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's a rumor that I've seen on 2 or 3 different websites in the last week that they're eyeballing Curtis Blades versus John Jones for his welcome to heavyweight.
Oh, they're gonna have to wait for that because they just got the okay for Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, I know Francis would probably welcome him right to the party.
well, Francis is guaranteed the next title shot. Dana actually talked about that yesterday. That was one of Dana's talking points, is that if John Jones wants to come to heavyweight and he wants to get a title shot, that's cool. But you're not going to leapfrog Francis Ngannou. He has cemented his chance. He's getting the next title shot regardless. You can fight someone in the meanwhile, or you can wait in the wings and try and jump in for the winner, but you're not jumping over Francis.
Rosen strikes out until September.
Yeah.
I find his timing kind of distasteful.
I agree. It was a little
You
shitty,
know,
I think.
what was it, 2 or 3 days after DC? I'm out. This is it for me. Then you want to move up to heavyweight?
maybe
Dude,
he's trying to bait him into that third fight.
I was going to say, that was the other thing that I had
The money
seen, is
fight.
that's the reason that John's going up now, is that because when DC released his statement Tuesday, I want to say, it was either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, one of the two. DC basically put a capstone on his career and on his social media, but he ended it with, "It's been a hell of a ride, huh?" And even old Chael was talking about it this afternoon. That's not generally how Cormier ends sentences, especially not when he's certain about something. He's generally pretty fucking definitive. Like, this seems like he's nonchalantly leaving the door cracked open, especially after John chimed right the fuck in to try and steal his thunder. So, I don't know. That might be a bait move to try and get him to come on back for that last one.
I just find it kind of distasteful. Like, I get it, being in the light heavyweight division with people that are literally running up for him in light heavy to move up to heavyweight. I mean, it's a good opportunity to cement yourself in like UFC Hall of Fame, of cementing yourself as a fantastic MMA practitioner. But I mean, I just find it distasteful with DC stepping away literally the weekend prior. I just find that distasteful.
I can definitely agree with that. I can understand that point of view, and I think there's definitely a little bit of a dick move, like Salt Bae up on DC's fucking shine from Johnny Boy. It's kind of his MO.
Yeah, I mean, wish the best of luck to him, moving up to a weight class like heavyweight with
Absolutely.
people that can absolutely demolish his fucking life.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this move plays out. But I'm on board. I want to see where the fuck it goes. So the next interesting one that we got this week, we actually just got yesterday afternoon. UFC's building out the fall. We're obviously into August now, so the UFC is starting to build. They've got cards announced as of now all the way until Thanksgiving. So October 3rd, as of now, prospectively, will be headlined by Court McGee welcoming the return of one Carlos Condit. That is not a name I thought I was going to be saying anytime soon, but I am definitely interested to see how that one plays out. Now, the week after that, we have got a matchup that might be just as peculiar, but definitely as interesting to see. The October 10th card, they are saying right now it is probably going to be the co-main event. Edson Barboza back in action against one of our few standouts from the Contender Series, the man himself, Super Sadiq Youssef. That, I think, is going to be a very interesting matchup, considering how close in stature those two are. I think Sadiq is really going to put the pace on Edson and see if he can hold up, because at this point, Sadiq's kind of looking like the future. And Edson definitely has cemented himself in that division, but as we've seen in a lot of his recent fights, he just doesn't quite have that finishing edge that he used to anymore. And Sadiq's not going to give him an easy fight.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Sadiq's going to give him everything he can handle.
The first thing that comes to my mind is that one might go to decision because
Yeah.
that one could be exciting from start to finish.
That could be a craziness, from bell to bell.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm in for it, though. So, the next one we got here, UFC 254 has been confirmed for October 24th. Islam Makhachev will be coming back into the octagon to welcome back up to light heavyweight Rafael dos Anjos. RDA is coming back up to 155. Apparently, he's finally done playing down at fucking featherweight again. Hopefully. I don't know. I think 45 was a bad experiment for RDA. I think 55 and even 70 RDA looks like a fucking world breaker. I don't see why he should keep playing in featherweight at this point in his career. And 2 fights here that they announced yesterday. I get both fights, but I don't understand why they didn't switch the dates on these 2. You'll understand here in just a second here. So, October 17th headline will be, or the main event on that card will be Brian Ortega versus the Korean Zombie, Chang Sung-jung. They have officially signed it. It is confirmed. All parties are involved. All parties are cleared. It is good. We are getting the fight. Fingers fucking crossed. The battle for K-pop supremacy is on. But on October 31st, on Halloween, where we should have had the zombie fight, we're still getting a good fight, just strangely timed. Uriah Hall, after losing the match against Yoel Romero due to unforeseen circumstances in Yoel's camp, Uriah Hall was like, I still want to fucking fight, guys. Like, find me somebody. Well, they fucking found him somebody. October 31st, Uriah Hall will fight Anderson the Spider Silva in potentially his final match of his career.
I'm all right with that.
I'm on board. I think those 2 dates could have perfectly been switched around to Zombie on Halloween. Come on, how do you not do that?
True.
I'm on board for both.
I guess they just figured spiders.
Right.
That's all I can see.
Right. But yeah, I'm on board for both fucking fights. I think Zombie and Ortega definitely needs to fucking happen. Mm-hmm. But I'm also not mad at all at Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva for potentially his last fight. I think that's going to be a great fucking match as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's two really nice fights.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, like we talked about earlier, on November 28th, the week after Thanksgiving, they have confirmed the headline for that event will be Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades. So we know that Derek lied when he said that he's not taking another fight till he gets his fat ass down to 250. As sad as it is, that's kind of Derek's MO. He said the same thing right before the DC fight. I need not taking another fight till I get my black ass in shape. And then literally a week later, they backed the Brinks truck up to his house. He said, I'm fighting DC for the belt. That's literally kind of the same thing here. Last week he told Joe, I'm not taking another fight till I get my fat ass down to 250 or so. And then a week later, hey, I'm taking a fight against Curtis Blades in a month and a half. So it's like, come on, Derek, god damn it.
But I believe that I can get down to 250 in that month and a half.
Yeah. It's like
this time with Derek Lewis, what's gonna be the line during the presser after the fights? What's gonna be the line this time? My balls is hot. I got shit.
I don't know if there'll be a line this time. Have you seen Curtis Blades lately?
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
He's going to give Derek Lewis a fucking handful, man. I don't know if Lewis takes this one, really.
Some people were blowing some smoke about him going to be being tapped out in his last fight, though, too. So you can't overlook him, man.
Yeah, no, that's true.
He went down with arguably one of the most dangerous heavyweight grapplers that there is right now when it comes to submissions.
Absolutely.
And he held his own. Albeit he did get in trouble late in the first, but it was late in the first.
Yeah, I was going to say, he survived. I don't know. I'd say hold his own. That fucking bulldog had him freaking the fuck out.
That little bulldog, yeah, that's just a neck crank.
You
at
heard
best.
you heard him in the
It
post fight though. He said I
sucks,
couldn't
but
breathe. I was freaking out.
He did all right though.
Yeah, no, he held up. He held up. So it'll be
Although
interesting to
I'm
see
not
how it
taking
plays.
anything away from Curtis Blades, but
Right.
Derek Lewis, he's been back on that hot kick again.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I don't know. I think we'll have to wait till we get a little closer to that and we see, because neither one of those guys are shy about sharing their training and their practice and their basically everyday life on social media. So I think we'll have a pretty good idea once we get a little closer how that's going to look.
I can guarantee you we're going to hear he's okay at some point.
I'm very, very confident. So now that will bring us out of the appetizer section into the more frequently repertoired here meat and potatoes segment that folks have come to know and love. As I did say, though, we do have 2 cards here to talk about this weekend. So the first one, I want to give just a quick little rundown for the Bellator 244 card that goes down tomorrow evening. The prelims are meh at best. Adam Piccolotti versus Sidney Outlaw is the only real fight on the prelims that are really worth talking about, and even that isn't really worth talking that much about. I mean, potentially good fight, but nothing really spectacular to sing home about. That being said, Roy Big Country Nelson stepping in against Fedor Emelianenko's personal fucking protege in Valentin Moldavsky, I think is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. We've seen for years now, but definitely predominantly since he's gotten over to Bellator, Big Country has pretty much given up on any of his kickboxing, on any of his grappling. He pretty much has relegated himself to a beer gut rockin' power puncher. He's kind of like Tank Abbott with a mullet, for lack of a better comparison at this point. He's not using any of his techniques, which we saw in the early days. Frankly, he fucking has skill. He has disturbingly good skills for a big dude. And he is a big dude. He's one of those guys that cuts to 265. So seeing a guy like that throw world-class kicks or grab and throw your fucking ass unexpectedly used to be a great thing, and we don't see that anymore. And then you look across from him and you look at Valentin Moldavsky, who is the 4-time World Combat Sambo champion, won the World Sambos basically from 2014 to 2018, when he decided he was going to stop competing in Sambo to focus strictly on MMA, since he had been picked up and taken under the wing by one Fedor Emelianenko. Understandably. This is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. Moldavsky, if you watch his fucking highlights, that dude will grab you at any point in the ring and fucking send you on the ride. But his striking leaves a whole fucking lot to be desired. You can tell he came from that grappling combat world and has learned striking and not kind of the other way around. Whereas Roy Nelson has basically given up all his wrestling to just focus on striking. So I think when the two of those styles clash up, added the fact that Roy Nelson is the oldest 43-year-old in Bellator right now, and Moldavsky, I believe, is 27, I think there's some interesting prospect here, but I think it's going to be on the Moldavsky side of things. I think Big Country is going to get his fat ass put against the fucking canvas in a bad way.
I mean, there's always the off chance he revisits some of his old skills and lays on top of somebody for a while.
Right. But at the same time, good luck holding the world Sambo champion down.
True.
When you haven't really practiced your wrestling in at least 5 years. So from there, the co-main event, Julia Budd making her return against Jessie Muley. Jessie, nothing bad against her. I just feel that she's sacrificial lamb at this point. She doesn't have a third of the experience of Julia Budd, and she has never seen anyone at the level that Julia Budd competes. I wish her the best of the luck. May the odds be ever in your favor, sweetheart, but I think this is going to be a bad night for you. I think Julia Budd's going to take out all that frustration she didn't get to let loose on Cyborg. Is going to get fed right to this new girl.
I mean, they probably backed up some money to her.
Yeah, I'm sure they brought a small little Brinks van over to her house, and they're like, look, this is going to suck, but you'll be okay. So that brings us to the main event over on the Bellator side of things. The microwaved filet mignon, if you will, that is their main platter. Ryan Bader, the current double champ, I say with air quotes for those of you listening, taking on another very scary Eastern Bloc prospect in Vadim Nemkov. I'm going to be frank. I don't really care for either one of these gentlemen very much. Bader more so probably because I've been laughing at him getting ragdolled by top talent for the better part of his career. And then all of a sudden he gets over to Bellator where they may or may not allegedly have much looser supplement testing guidelines involved. He doubles his size and automatically becomes a 2-division champion. But then you look at Nemkov, who has essentially came out of nowhere and just torn the fuck through that division every time they have put someone in front of him, including, unfortunately, my fucking homeboy, LDV Linton Vassell, in a very, very fucking close match. But even in that one, Nemkov showed he is fucking well-rounded. The difference here is that Nemkov tends to rely on his wrestling to get him where he wants the fight to go. That's quite literally Ryan Bader's bread and fucking butter. Bader's got great power punching, not so much good on the footwork because he's a fucking big dude. But wrestling and grappling are literally his bread and butter. And if that's what Nemkov thinks he's going to do to get Bader where he wants him, which is exactly what he said, I think Nemkov is going to get a rude awakening. Not that I ever want to see Bader get another W. That dude could fuck off and get in a car crash for all I give a shit. But given the situation they put him in, I kind of think he has no choice but to shine here against the kid.
I'm trying to think of something complimentary to say about this fight.
It's tough, ain't it?
I mean, Bader's really good at stuffing people and then making his own game work at this point.
Yep.
So I have a real hard time picking against him, and I don't care for him.
Sucks, don't it?
I think I'm gonna do what my mama said. If I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I think it's probably Bader's fight, but neither here nor there, I suppose.
Right. I understand. I understand. So with that will bring us back over to the UFC side of the house, coming back into Vegas once again for another UFC Fight Night Vegas. This time, UFC Fight Night Vegas, Munoz versus Edgar. I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. Between the Backstreet Boys and then just scrambling to throw and reshuffle cards coming up in the future, this one is kind of taking a hit.
Yeah, I was going to say, this was Romero versus
Hall originally.
And then they also had Angela Hill and...
Yeah, who the fuck was that?
Who else did that? It was Angela Hill, and it was a fight that I was actually going to be pulling for.
No, I can't fucking remember.
I don't do that. I like her a lot. I really like her. I like her work ethic, and I like her as a person. So I was actually going to be pulling for old Thrill Hill.
I think at one point it was actually a potential rebook for Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana too. Before that got moved the 7th time to sometime in 2023. I don't know, but
yeah, this one scrambled.
This one definitely got clusterfucked. I will say this: it seems like this is a meh prelim weekend. The prelims on Bellator tomorrow night are just not that exciting, and sadly, the prelims Saturday night are completely uninteresting. There really isn't a fight on the prelim card to be fucked with or messed about or bragged over. And the real shitty part is that there's only a 4 fight main card, and even one of those turned out to be fluff. So we actually only really have 3 fights over on the UFC side of the house that are really worth breaking down and giving any attention to here, which is kind of why I said we should be able to kick this episode out fairly quick, surprisingly enough. The first one, we have no choice. We abso-fucking-lutely have to talk about this fucking fight. They are opening the main card with one of the most exciting fights I think we have had announced in a long fucking time. Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, Joe Schilling and Cowboy Cerrone's wrestling coach and badass Muay Thai motherfucker, getting back in there now that he has got his fresh-ass Venom kit that they sent him, taking on one of the baddest motherfuckers without household recognition, I feel, Takashi Sato. People, for whatever reason, have been sleeping on both of these dudes so fucking heavily. And I understand they're not, top 5 guys yet, but at the same time, both of these dudes have made such a fucking strong splash and such a solid impact in their fucking introductions into the UFC. Stylistically, they are very, very different. Santos is a very long, rangy striker, whereas D-Rod will use his range of striking to set up his wrestling. But I think skill-wise, both of them are very, very evenly matched. I think endurance-wise, they both have got fucking gas tanks for days, and they are both dudes who are, with your shield or on it type of motherfuckers. So there's not going to be any quit in this match. I think one of these guys goes to sleep, and I cannot tell you which one it is.
I'd have to put that one. It's going to be Takashi Sato comes out on top. He didn't look great in his last fight. I honestly thought he had a lot more potential than what was shown in his last fight. I think this fight here with Rodriguez is what's going to actually show that.
I could see that.
Let's see here. Getting to what I wrote down earlier. Sato's shown it a little bit more, but he's one of those he's almost purely a counter guy. And I think Rodriguez's striking game is strong enough to where he can lead him where he wants to go. Sato's been shown a little bit more, but not a lot recently. I think there's always that off chance for that one strike knockout that Sato is very, very capable of delivering. I think he hesitates a little bit too much. I think Rodriguez is good enough to kind of lead him where he needs to go, and I think he's durable enough to take a shot, maybe a shot. But if he gets caught more than once, who knows?
Right.
But I'll go with Rodriguez on this one.
For me, I'm leaning more towards Sato on this. D-Rod just eats. He takes a lot of fucking punishment. He eats the fuck out of some punches. And with the fighting style that Sato has, he's more of a John Jones, keep the reach, come in, quick combo, step out. And as you're stepping out, you're throwing 1 or 2 more in there. With the fighting style like that, he's gonna land some pretty decent, significant strikes on somebody like D-Rod, who eats the fuck out of punches every time. I mean, the man has a well-tested chin, but Sato can put a fucking hurting on a motherfucker.
Absolutely. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is one of those I could really see going either way because if I agree completely, D-Rod will definitely eat a couple shots to give a couple. He's that type of motherfucker. He trains with Joe Schilling and Cowboy Cerrone, so you know he ain't afraid to fucking take one. But at the same time, Sato's got some fucking strong counters, man. That dude with his
Yeah.
fucking step off is dangerous. It's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be probably the most fun fight of the evening, and it's just not getting any hype, sadly. So I wanted to make a point to fucking talk about it. I think it's gonna be a great fucking match. So that will bring us to our nice hand fluffed plate o potatoes. That is our co-main event of the evening here. One Alonzo Menefeld welcoming back OSP. This is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. We have seen Alonzo Menefeld in his short time in the UFC just look like a fucking world breaker, and then we've seen him trip over his own dick when they put him against Devin Clark too. But it didn't turn out as bad as it could have. He definitely showed some good fight in the moment fight IQ. But you're stepping in against OSP. This dude has been there with the who's who and has either held his own or given him a hell of a run for their fucking money every single time he's been in that octagon. This is no fucking slouch to overlook. And I just don't know if Alonzo Menefeld really has the experience and the gumption, really, to get over a guy like OSP who is going to give it to you 110% from start to finish. I like Menefeld. I really do. I think he's got some potential, but I just don't know if he's got what it takes to go against a guy like OSP who can give you the full fucking grind from open to close. Menefeld's a wrestler with striking, but OSP is just a fucking ninja star, man. Every time you turn, he's got another pointy corner waiting for you to get fucked up with. I like Menefeld, but I think OSP is going to fucking take him out. I think the experience difference alone is going to show volumes once that fight kicks off.
Yeah. I'm inclined to say that if OSP makes it past the first round, because I think that's where I think Menefeld's going to put a lot of pressure on him that first round.
Yeah.
If OSP makes it outside that first round, this is his fight. Like it'll be clinch time. He'll be throwing strikes from all sorts of bizarre ass angles like he likes to do.
Yep.
Working for some submission that I never thought of. And all right.
All right, the Von
Okay,
Prue.
I didn't see that coming.
Trying to get a Von Prue choke.
Yeah. So it's like there's some big names that have taken a loss to OSP, and I've said it before. There's no shame in taking a loss to OSP. I don't think it puts a damper on Menefeld at all.
No.
There's a better than average shot that he'll get him in that first round, but if he doesn't, he's shown that he tires.
Yeah.
He's shown that he tires a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Starting about halfway through the second, like things start going off the rails. And that third, if it goes to a third, OSP will just be putting him wherever the hell he wants him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there's no shame in taking a loss to OSP. If it's in the first round, it's Menefeld. If it's anything outside the first round, it's OSP.
I'll put it like this. OSP has done great things. He showed signs of potential championship caliber. However, that motherfucker has stumbled so many goddamn times, it's hard to count on him.
Yeah.
As much as I would like to, because I do enjoy watching him fight. I enjoy his style, his swagger that he's got about him. For that, he's great. However, I'm going to call him fucking ice cream for this reason. It's like watching Rocky Road. He's up, he's down, there's soft, there's hard spots. You don't know what you're going to get out of him.
That's not where I thought you were going.
At the end of the day, you know he's going to show up. So there is going to be at least a single scoop on that cone. Now, is he going to come in and just put it all down? Say, yeah, we're not. We're going the triple stack route. We don't know. Sometimes we get one. Sometimes we get 3 scoops. Depends on how he feels that day. And guess what? If I'm putting my money out there and I'm paying for 3 scoops and I get 1, I'm pretty pissed off. But don't get me wrong. He does have the ability to do very well. However, every time that we've seen him with anybody who's been moving in the right direction and slowly working their way up and getting to this level, he seemed to fail to be the gatekeeper to keep them away from that next level up. Albeit, I do have to put myself a caveat into this statement. He has lost to some very notable names lately. One of them, Ben Rothwell, via decision. Of all the people you lose to, I love Ben Rothwell because he's from Wisconsin like myself. But at the same time, to lose a decision to that dude, that's kind of a weird fucking fight. Ben Rothwell is usually not a decision fighter.
That was short notice. That was short notice. Andy moved up to heavyweight, so
Doesn't matter. OSP can perform. That's what I'm saying here.
you can.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to take anything away from him. All right. Well, if we're gonna, let's nix that. How about Nikita Krylov?
Oh, there we go.
He could have beaten Nikita Krylov. I'll say it.
Yeah,
I think he could have dominated him.
I agree. I think he could have. I think he absolutely could have had that fight, but he wasn't in it.
But he took the loss on it. So I mean, but every time there's a notable name in front of him or a chance where he gets to possibly move up and get himself out of this gray area that he's in, he just keeps hitting the shit.
He's almost got cowboy syndrome, if you think about it. Whenever he's in a match that doesn't really have a whole lot of bearing, he fucking shines and he looks spectacular. And then when all the fucking lights come on and there's a moment to get his career in advancement or a big name that he could really fucking springboard off of, he kind of trips over his own dick.
Yeah, he really does. Whereas if we're looking at this right now, Manafield, he's been doing pretty good. He made a minor stumble. However, you know what? At 9-1 in the UFC or in a pro career, I'll take one fuck up. You gotta sometimes take a loss in order to get better. That's how that works. And guess what? He's shown he has that potential to make it to the next level here. And I think what's going to end up happening, I think OSP loses this fight. Because I think he's going to trip and stumble over him. Because for some odd reason, it just seems like there was this great long run with him where I was thinking, championship.
Right.
That motherfucker's going to have the belt. He's going to get up there to that point where before somebody relinquished it, he could have beat John Jones, I think, at one point. I really do. But it's like he's not training hard or something. I don't know what's going on with him, but he can never seem to swing it together when it's important. And I think this might be one of those fights where they go, hey, dude, you're getting pretty close to the end of your contract, man. You better fucking win.
Yeah.
Because he's had a couple of rough fights. Yes, he's won 1 in his last 3. Yes, we're not going to talk about the move up to heavyweight, whatever. I'm fucking waving bullshit malarkey on that, too, because I know he could have fucking beat Ben Rothwell. And I love Ben Rothwell, but I know he could have beat him.
Yeah, that was a weird fight.
By the way, he's won in his last 3.
Yeah, I see one triple scoop out there, and I see two 1 scoops out there. So, I believe people are buying into the ice cream metaphor.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm thinking we get a half scoop this week.
Okay. Oh, not getting a full scoop out of him.
No,
Interesting.
I really don't. I think Menafield's gonna do way fucking better job than people will think he's going to do.
Oh no, I think he's going to do a great job.
Yeah,
Like
no.
I don't.
I agree with Fresh's breakdown for the most part wholeheartedly. I think if that kid in play haircut rocking motherfucker catches him in the first round, then it's over.
I would love to see the Carlton get shaved off of his head, though.
I'm not here to tell anybody how to rock their hair because I don't have that option. So you do you, homeboy.
Granted, I should probably stop myself there because I'm not sure what type of head shape he has because of the way his haircut. Maybe he's doing that because his head is a little cat-eyed or something.
Do you, buddy? Do you?
I get it. If I had hair, I would do the same thing.
That's why I said I'm not in a position to tell anybody how to style their fucking hair.
Man, if I had hair, I'd be rocking a samurai top knot all day, every day. Shaving the front
Just
right there.
right
Top.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards the route that Fresh is going and TJ is going. More towards, I think it's going to be Manafeld coming into the first round and just putting a immense amount of pressure. I think he is going to put some serious pressure on OSP, and Manafeld is very capable of doing a fucking what the hell knockout one shot power. I mean, that's a big motherfucker.
Yeah.
That man is ripped like a motherfucker.
He's ice cream cone shaped for sure. That motherfucker is a walking V.
Oh yeah. I think he's gonna put some ridiculous pressure on OSP, make OSP trip up, and Manifold is just gonna put him to sleep.
I think that's a damn good possibility. I think it could happen. I don't know. I agree, though. I think if Menefield catches him in the first, he's got a real fucking problem. But I think if he gets past the first, we know old Kid in Play slows the fuck down real goddamn hard. For as hard as he punches, man, that dude has 0 gas tank. So,
As TJ says, muscles equals more equals more of a gas tank.
right,
Equals more fucking air being burned.
right. See, and that's what fucked me up when he said he was like Rocky Road. I thought he meant when it gets hot, he melts.
Let's see. I could have said any fucking ice cream then. That's why I went Rocky Road. There's some soft spots in there and some hard spots. He's got some marshmallows, some nuts. You know, come on, get with the fucking program.
What do you
What
got?
kind of fat kid are you? You can't even figure that out.
The kind with no teeth that don't eat Rocky Road.
Dude, just saying. I eat my ice cream before it melts. I'm too much of a fat kid to let that shit get to melting point.
I hear you. So now that will bring us to the gold-plated loose meat sandwich that is our main event for this evening.
Huh.
Pedro Munoz versus Frankie Edgar.
It's just a blue plate. It's just a blue plate special.
It's on a gold plate though.
Okay.
This is neither the fight everyone was asking for, nor a fight that no one wants to see. This is kind of a weird catch-22 fight in that Pedro Munoz, realistically, after putting Cody Garbrandt into fucking orbit, should be the number 1 contender in the bantamweight division. For some reason, they've decided to let him fight Frankie Edgar, who, for all intents and purposes, will be in the Hall of Fame, undeniably. That man is a fucking living legend and helped make the UFC and MMA as a whole what it is today. That being said, there absolutely is a caveat to that, because, one, when Frankie cemented himself as a legend in this sport, in this organization, it was quite literally almost a decade ago. 2, when he did that, it was at 155 pounds. And to his credit, Frankie not only did work at 55, but looked great at 70 for a brief period as well. He did have a short stint down at 45, but that didn't look that great to begin with. And then for some reason got it in his mind, 35 is the place that he needs to be. The odd thing about this is that Pedro Munoz is a fucking dyed-in-the-wool killer. Undeniably. The UFC even put out a video specifically today just of Pedro Munoz's finishes since he's been in the UFC, and none of them are pleasant. They are all either brutal, vicious fucking knockouts or undeniable guillotines that are choking the fucking life out of people. That being said, Pedro Munoz is a fucking staple right now in the 135-pound division that you're going to have to use a fucking avalanche to get rid of. Frankie Edgar, on the other hand, still, as of right now, has never made 135 pounds. No test cut, no previous fights. walking to the scale tomorrow will literally be the first time he has ever made it down or tried to make it down to 135 pounds. We said the same thing when Jose Aldo, for some fucking reason, thought that he was going to be able to just walk in at 135 pounds and just show Marlon Moraes what the fuck everything was about. Granted, he got some good ones in, but that did not go nearly how Jose planned it, I fucking promise you. Jose, on the other hand, had made several test cuts to 35 before that, though, which is why when he stepped on the scale, he didn't look completely dead. Looked a little smaller than normal because he had to shape some muscle mass, but didn't look completely dead because he had been preparing for that weight. We're going to see the first time bantamweight Frankie tomorrow on the scale ever. I don't think that's a good idea. Least of all, against a fucking world breaker like Pedro Munoz. You just saw in the last match, he's capable of taking very serious, big fucking shots because Cody landed on him hard and several big fucking shots. He took him and he walked through him and he put Cody to fucking sleep. Granted, Cody has a chin made of Play-Doh, but that's neither here nor there. The difference being, Frankie will never in his fucking life throw a shot as hard as what Cody threw at him in his last fight, and he walked through those. So he has no reason to fear the power of Frankie Edgar. Frankie's making his first time at a new weight, so he has no reason to fear the grappling of Frankie Edgar because even he won't be used to his own power and ability down at this new weight. But he knows, Pedro knows what he is capable of at this weight because this is his fucking weight class. I have very little doubt in my mind Frankie Edgar goes to sleep in a very violent fashion Saturday night, and then we're either going to see Pedro Munoz versus Aljamain Sterling or Pedro Munoz versus Corey Sandhagen next for the official number one contender status.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Pedro Munoz is so good at that guillotine defense.
It's so nasty, dude.
It is, and that's the one thing Frankie has going for him in this fight. Is I think he's a better wrestler, but if you take that shot on Pedro Munoz, you're taking your fucking life in your own hands, because that dude will snatch you by the neck quicker than you can believe, and just choke the ever-loving bejesus out of you.
And if you saw the video, sorry to cut you off, the video that they posted today of Pedro Munoz's finishes, 3 of his guillotines that he landed were on guys who were shooting on him. He wants you to come in at him because when you're going for that single, he's going for your neck. And by the time you hit the ground, he's going to roll you over and you're going to be on a turtle mode, not knowing what the fuck happened. He's real good at it.
He's really good at it. And then you add in the power. The power that Pedro Munoz has at 135, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Some of the knockouts he's laid out on people. Yeah, I mean, I like Frankie Edgar. I like him. I think this is a fucking mistake. To take this particular fight, like when you come down to 135, like there's been dudes ducking Pedro Munoz for years because they don't want to fight him
for good reason. Yeah.
For very good reason. And yeah, you're walking in there and Dana says, okay, you want to do 135? Well, you can fight Pedro Munoz. Like, Frankie Edgar never should have signed that contract. He should have said, is there anybody else? So, I mean, Pedro Munoz is going to put this away. He's going to put it away in the first or the second. Like, this is not going to the third.
No, I agree. I don't see this.
He might feel him out a little bit. And then he might feel him out in the first, and then things are going to get ugly. Things are going to get fucking ugly for Frankie Edgar. Or Frankie Edgar will get blasted once or twice and get dumb and decide that he's going to go for that. He's going to shoot in for a takedown and try and work his wrestling game. It would be another fucking mistake.
Early it will be, yes. In the second round, it'd be a much better idea. If he shoots in early when they're dry and your neck is easy to fucking grab, that's going to be a quick sleep time for Frankie, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, one way or another, Pedro Munoz is walking out. And hopefully he gets the number one contender slot where he probably deserves to be. So,
I'll say it since I know nobody else is going to say it. I think this is the right fucking move for Frankie Edgar. With an extension on that being said, 10 years fucking too late.
Yeah, no shit.
Because to be honest, look, I'll say it. Yes, he looked good up there running title, fending off fucking just some absolute killers back in the day. However, he's always been 5 foot fucking 6. He should have been sitting in that 135-pound division. Yeah, maybe he should have floated down to 145 sooner or something like that. But he should have been down in this division. He should have made the cut, but he's always been a little muscle-bound cocksucker who can take a punch. And look, I don't see him going to sleep in this because I don't think, from what we've seen out of him, at a heavier weight class where they hit harder, he hasn't gone to sleep anywhere near as much as a lot of other folks in that same division.
This is true.
Do I think Pedro Munoz is going to have the fucking capability to knock him out? No, I don't. Don't get me wrong. Everybody can hit the button. But I don't think that that's going to happen here. Now, I'm not saying that Frankie's going to win because that's a fucking tough fight to take for your first fight to drop weight down like this. That's fucking batshit crazy. I'll say it.
Sure.
However, I think it is the right move, albeit way too fucking late. I think he should have done this before he even won the title up there at 155. Look, the Gray Maynard fights he had, those are fucking legendary. During that time frame, though, that's when he should have been down at this weight class. Not late in your career. However, you know what? I get it. Maybe you're feeling a little long in tooth. Maybe you're feeling like Jose Aldo. Maybe you're thinking, maybe I need to just get down to a smaller weight class where I've got more power than these guys, because he's definitely going to have more power than Munoz. I'll fucking say it. I don't care what anybody says. He's dropping 20 fucking pounds from what he would normally drop whatever before that. You're still going to carry some of that power with you. It might not be the exact same as you were 20 pounds heavier, but guaranteed he balloons up fucking 20 pounds overnight after the weigh-ins.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Why? Because he's been fighting at that same fucking weight class for so long. It's going to be easy for him to balloon that weight. How much is Pedro going to balloon? Maybe 10 pounds.
Yeah, not nearly as much, I agree.
So I think there's going to be a power differential that not everybody's going to see. Munoz is definitely going to be a little quicker, I think. However, I think Frankie can take him into deep waters because he knows how to take fights into deep waters. He's done it time and time again. If you look at his record, most of his wins via decisions. Why? Because he knows how to get people into those late rounds, outgas them, and just fucking keep pushing through. Thus the reason we've seen some of the most amazing fucking wars ever out of him. So I don't necessarily think he's going to win the fight, but I think he will take it into deep waters, and I think this ends up going to decision. I think Munoz will end up getting it decision. However, when's the last time we've seen Munoz go into championship rounds? Because this is the main event, so it's 5 rounds. Has anybody seen that recently?
Not in a minute, no.
I didn't think so. See, that's what I'm saying. Frankie's been down that road way more than one fucking time. Way, way more. Probably more times than Pedro Munoz is. Oh, probably damn near as many times as Pedro Munoz has actually fought. Hey, you got to think, how many main events did he headline without the title before he got the title, and then how many defenses and comebacks and all that shit? There's been a lot of those, and he's taken almost every one of them to deep water. So I have a feeling it's going to be deep water, and we're going to see if Pedro can actually swim when it's that deep. I think he'll manage, but I don't think it's going to be to the extent that everyone thinks it'll be. I think we're going to see a little bit different wear on him just because of the deeper waters. But Pedro still gets it done via decision, I think. And I'll say it this way. I don't think he's going to win 4 rounds. I think he'll win 3. Frankie is going to at least win 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, the only way that I see Frankie losing this is either decision or one of those holy shit, what just happened submissions that does time and time again. Like like TJ said, with coming down weight classes, you carry a good bit of power over, and Frankie has battled some holy shit shots. He has taken some career ending hooks and head kicks and just walked the fuck through. So his chin has been tested, and that bitch is stamped and certified. It's ready to go. I don't think, as TJ said, that somebody like Munoz is going to be able to knock him out. If he does go to sleep, it's from a submission.
To be fair, they said the same thing about Ortega.
Yeah. I don't, but like, that's, yeah, true.
That's
Look,
literally
Ortega hit the fucking button.
that's literally
Look.
exactly
Yeah.
what they said about Ortega, though.
And
Yeah.
we all remember what happened in that fight. He hit the button solid.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He's got to be lucky to find the button. How many other people had found the button prior to that? Absolutely fucking no one.
This is true, but the important part about that, we say it all the time. Once that button's been pressed, it can't be unpressed, and every time it gets pressed, it makes it easier to be pressed again.
Let's see. I still think he's got probably one of the more solid chins in all of the UFC still.
I absolutely agree. I will absolutely agree that he absolutely has a fucking granite chin, but we saw that granite isn't as solid as we used to think it is. There are some chips in it, and it can absolutely be cracked if it gets hit right. Pedro's a hell of a fucking chiseler. I don't know. I think for me, I would have much rather seen Jose versus Frankie at 35. You guys are both vets from other divisions. You're both making your entryway down to here. I think that would have been the fight to fucking make. Put, fucking Jose and Frankie at 135 for their both first time out. I think it would have saved Jose a lot of embarrassment from that Marlon fight. I think it could have saved Frankie from what could potentially be a very big embarrassment this weekend if Pedro fucking cleans his clock. I don't know, man. It's definitely gonna be something that you're gonna want to fucking watch. That's for damn sure. Because either way, this is gonna have some meaning in the division. Unlike a lot of the fight nights that we've seen over the summer here, this main event will have impact in this division. Because you better fucking believe if Frankie Edgar knocks Pedro Munoz out, he's gonna be in line talking about Peter Yan Sunday morning, and so will Dana. But on the other side of that, if Pedro knocks Frankie out, I feel like he's almost still going to be where he is now, because there's going to be so many of those people saying, well, it was Frankie's first time down, so it doesn't really count. Real similar to when Marlon beat Jose. They gave Jose a fucking title shot off that loss. Marlon won that fight. Like it or not, decision, controversial or not, Marlon won that fight, and then Jose got a title shot off that loss.
Yeah.
I feel like Pedro's in a real fucking similar situation here, because even if he beats Frankie, he beat a Frankie in his first time down, and if they like Frankie enough, we could see another fucking upset like we did with Jose. Granted, I think sadly it would end exactly the same way that did, but I don't want to see it come to that. I don't want to see it go that direction. Hopefully it doesn't, but the only way to find out is going to be to tune in Saturday night. See for yourself. That, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have for this particular episode here. So before we head on out, I would like to take just a moment and thank these fine folks for tuning in and taking part in the shenanigans. I do want to thank each and every one of you who were here live, or who are catching this on a replay, or who are listening to the all audio version over there on Anchor FM. I appreciate all of you guys equally. So at this point, if somebody decides that they're ready to throw their name in the goblet of fire and step up as a competitor and try and take that interim new guy title, how can they get a hold of you to talk some shit, RJ?
Well, one, you can always hit me up over there at RJ MMA official over on the Instagrams. Two, to get to the interim new guy title, like, we have to do some thorough background checks. I'm currently at 150. So, we'd have to talk about weight class to see, what you're into. But I mean, if you're like lower than that, or higher, we can run it as a catch weight. But yeah. God damn it. I fucking hate you, Meter. Thank you for having me on, like always. Bastard. Thank you for having me on, like always, man. I appreciate it. Gives me something to look forward to in the middle of the week. It's great to be here.
Thank you for your time, sir. Always appreciated. So now, at this point, obviously they're going to have to wait in line because the next contestant has already been decided here. We know who the interim new guy title is being contested against. But if they want to sign up to maybe help go on a scavenger hunt in the meanwhile while they wait for that match to be cleared up and the division to open back up, how could somebody sign up on that list to help us track down old Uncle Chael?
We've got beaver pelts. We've got pearls. We found a whole bunch of weed in the Hawthorne district down in Portland. So that'll be on the way, Meter. I'm shipping that your way. Like the hippie trap. The hippie trap. It was like you just lit a little patchouli in a park, and there was, drum circles and shit everywhere. It was out of control. We did not think our trap through down in Hawthorne.
Hate to see it.
We did not lure Chael Sonnen in any of these things. So we need to rethink our strategies. So I believe this weekend we may have a planning session and try and figure out better ways to lure Chael Sonnen out of the silo and into the streets of Portland, where we can lay hands on him and give him the hug that he deserves. So, but yeah, things did not go as intended at all with the last set of traps. So we got to rethink it all. And yeah, you're dead man, RJ. Dead man.
I will say though, based on this week's video, I think for the next trap we might actually be able to lure in with a 1-inch cup of espresso, because he has become enamored with it. He had his first one ever this week. He literally made a 10-minute video talking about the fact that he, somewhere in his house, owned 1-inch coffee cups he didn't know about, and has a coffee maker he didn't know was capable of making espresso for said 1-inch cups, and he is absolutely in love with it now. So I think that might be...
Okay, I learned this trick when I was in Boston. You get yourself a stick, and you get a bunch of rock sugar on it, and you stir your espresso with the rock sugar stick. So maybe rock sugar stick traps.
See? I knew we'd get there.
Get some Cafe Bustelos, some rock candy. There you go, dude. That's the strat.
That's how a plan comes
We're
together.
on to you. We're on to you, Uncle Chael.
Damn right.
On to you.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Fresh.
My pleasure.
So then, as is the case more often than not, the man across the octagon from myself, the guy who can get you as close to the Kenosha Crippler as we could possibly safely put a person, while also feeding you delectable cheese curds, Mr. Golf T Vapes himself.
Thanks for having me. Sorry for the stylish entrance, but gotta have that once in a while, apparently.
Can't make an entrance if you show up on time, right?
That's right. No. Wednesday nights, right here on the YouTube, this channel right here. And of course, here every fucking Thursday. So, you guys know the drill. You can find me on the Instagram, shoot me a message. I'll give you directions. I'll even tell you how much they cost at the bar I'm sending you to. And then how much it costs for a 6-pack for you to take and go from the bar.
Yeah, right.
Nice guy like that.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Always appreciated. Well, that's all we've got for this one, folks. So, if we made you giggle a little bit, give us a thumbs up. If we give you a rib splitter, subscribe. We do this every week, at least once a week. If we gave you, oh my fucking god, tears running down your cheeks, fucking crying, laughing moment, we do that sometimes. Share an episode of the show. We're trying to grow this damn thing. The other side of that coin, if we're just a couple of dipshits and an interim new guy sitting around not knowing what the fuck we're actually talking about, give us a thumbs down. We earned it, and we won't dispute it. That being said, we're going to call it all for this evening. So remember, till next time, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
In front it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.